Welcome back to some professional StarCraft 2. I'm excited for this clash of the top two regions in StarCraft. Now, the man that no matter where you're from, you're probably going to fear, respect, and be made somewhat uncomfortable by. It is the final boss. It's Dark. And on the other side, his potential victim, the European champion, many times over, the Terran player, the Frenchman, the kid. It's Clem. I am very interested to see how this best of three plays out, as Clem also well known for some very unorthodox, well, not so much unorthodox, but as an original player, someone who's willing to play a little bit differently in order to get an edge or just like assert their playstyle on the game. And if you like assertive players, if you like assertive commentary, and if you like assertive statements, well then subscribe. Smash that like button or dislike. Either way, make a decision. Just like these players are gonna have to do as the game goes on. Already, we have Clem with not one, but 3 CC. As he expands to the natural, builds that 3rd CC even before starting off his Hellion production with the reactor factory. On the other side, Dark with the standard fixins for now. He's got his 3rd hatchery, Zergling speed a little quicker than usual, about 10-15 seconds early. And that 10-15 seconds might make all the difference, as Clem does not have any Hellions. He's going to lose several SCVs in those 10 to 15 seconds. He gets the mule, and he gets out after a pretty decent scout. Did he actually see that it's a reactor factory? He's got to assume it now, but... Wow, those little... we interrupt our regularly scheduled programming for... Fusion Core! Well, I said not afraid to try something a little bit different, a little bit more dramatic. And what is more dramatic than potentially battle cruisers? As Clem, wow, 3 CC battle cruiser. I am very, very interested to see how Dark handles this. This seems like one of those things that could actually turn the tables on the final boss here. If you give him any sort of warning, or even the idea, you don't even have to give him a warning. He just has to suss it out, which is not a term I'm ever going to use again, hopefully. But if he even smells the battle cruisers, let alone sees them, I'm sure he'll have a response ready. But so far, no indication whatsoever that he knows this is coming. He's building queens, which is the usual. He's building a roach warren. So, one thing he hasn't built yet is a single spore crawler. Okay. Wow. 1 spore crawler. But 1 spore crawler is not going to stop a battle cruiser. It might not even slow it down, as of course it can fire while moving. And behind it, Clem, opting... Oh no, he let it in! He sees mech. Okay, so he gets in with a Zergling, but the Zergling did not see the fusion core. All it saw was a tech lab not upgrading with a starport and 2 factories. So while there are more spores on the way, he very likely expects banshees or Raven here. Not a battle cruiser. So, a 2nd cruiser is on the way. And he jumps right on top of everything. The queen scrambling, already damaged, into the midst of the entire army here. Oh, looking for another Evo chamber to box out. Already 6 drones down. But Dark's Evo chamber wall is so perfect. Despite being unprepared, he immediately adapts, pulls the queens off the line, and the Hellions aren't able to get very much at all in the way of damage. Dark left with a nice amount of drones, now up over 70. And, well, that could have been a lot more dramatic. I did appreciate the tactical jump right on top of everything, but at the end of the day, I'm not entirely sure it got what it needed. And he didn't lose the battlecruiser, but he did lose the initiative. And Dark thrives on initiative. That means that Dark now has 4 bases. He's got an infestation pit on the way. He knows what he's dealing with. It's gonna be mech, as we see the great add-on reinstall in the main base. Is this gonna be Nidus Swarm Host as a counter here? The Nidus network right next to everything. Ooh, very interesting. Blue Flame is on the way for the Hellions. They don't need it to roast unprotected drones. Half a dozen and then some taken out. The Roaches spotted. The Queen Moot gathering. Oh wait, he's just gonna go. No. The Nidus is just for going for it. The Queen's to challenge the battle cruisers. Now that I think about it, he's not gonna wait for Swarm Host, right? He's just gonna slap a Nidus on the other side of the map to support a Roach push. And as I say it, he makes Swarm Hosts, thus invalidating that point. Edit it out, Jimmy. They'll never know. I mess up sometimes. Well, then again, oh my god, he's getting Yamato Cannon, which indicates the expiration date has not yet passed for these battle cruisers. I'm surprised he's not adding more. But taking out some of the overlords will actually supply block Dark. Dark, who's building a Nidus, has 15 Swarm Hosts on the way. Now, of course, Locusts don't shoot up. Here come the Hellions in towards the 4th base, roasting some more of the drones. But Dark, he spots it. The battlecruisers will jump back home to defend. Now, of course, the Swarm Host not going to be able to challenge the battlecruisers directly. Dark is going to fight everywhere but, though. Another attack. Battlecruisers zoning out the Roaches. This is shaping up to quite a dramatic game. Very happy I decided on this one. Haven't quite seen this sort of exchange in quite a while. The battlecruiser, he's essentially avoiding the cruisers here. And, well, Clem holding strongly so far, but another angle spot. Here come the Queens as well. It appears he wants more. Maybe he can catch the cruisers out. And Pathogen Glands is on the way. The longer that Clem stays on the defensive, the more I worry for his long-term livelihood. So that just gives Dark. Now Dark forward creeping off the Nidus. And just gonna stick around, because if the battlecruisers want to snipe it off, they'll find a lot more than they bargained for. Oh, even more. What is in the natural right now? How did these Roaches get in here? Who invited you? Gonna try to clear up some of the creep, but it escapes into the Nidus. There is a planetary in the center. Another Nidus. A handful of Hellions make their way by. Only killing a couple drones, but in the main base. Clem has spotted it. Battlecruisers jump in to defend. Should be able to deal with the Nidus in time, just barely. And there he goes, but here comes Dark up the center. And also flying in with Locust on top of the planetary. The repair as quick as he can, and the planetary may just barely live. But again, Dark, the barrage of units every which way. He tries to burrow. He actually might be able to escape as there's no more scans. He's used so many scans, the Roaches will escape. Yes, he'll be able to chase a handful down, but they're on creep because of the creep he added. There's still a whole bunch in the Nidus. Uses the Burrowed Roach vision, limited as it is, enough to place a Nidus network. The scans are being stretched across the sides here. The Nidus slightly out of sensor tower range. How little it covers. Another set of Swarm Hosts. Well, the same set, but oh no, he let the Roaches in! Those Swarm Hosts launching their Locusts towards the center line. The Cyclone scrambling every which way. Clem is maxed out, but he's struggling to find an angle to actually attack. And if Dark ever lets up, then Clem's army may be able to march across the map and kill him. Right now, Dark is on borrowed time, though it may not look it, because Clem's army is clearly better if he's ever able to pin down a meaningful amount of Dark and take a fight. There's a Lurker Den on the way. Burrows and resets the targeting after the Cyclone locks, but it's not enough. How many infestors are on the field? 0. That's not many. Clem trying to pay... There's creep everywhere because of these Niduses unleashing the queens upon the world. More infestors on the way. Creep tumors. But, oh, the cyclones, they're not moving, but the locusts don't notice either. Both players just kind of not paying attention to this fight. Still maxed out despite all the action across the board. Here comes Dark. The double scan from Clem. The Venn diagram scan there, almost entirely overlapping. Sees the burrowed roaches, pops up, breaks the locks with the quick burrow, and then pops right back up to fight. But is there enough to actually stop this? Infestors are popping up. Pathogen glands, fungal, just in time. Yamato cannons over the top. But there's still more than enough queens to withstand this. And the queens upgraded now. Is there a fungal to lock down the battlecruiser? Chasing it down. I don't even know if tactical jump is up. Might be able to knock down one cruiser. Down it goes. Still holding the line. Locusts recharged on those swarm hosts. Second battlecruiser getting chased by the queens. Jumps away at the last second. A cinematic jump. But Dark holds against the maxed out mech army of Clem. Still, the swarm host unleashing waves of locusts. Clem not microing his cyclones away. Looking on the other side. Oh, and it looks like we had a pause there. A moment. But we wait for no one. Morty counts us down to reality. Snap back with the swarm host. And so far, yes. Despite technical difficulties, the tech is causing difficulty for both sides. Clem with the battle mech, the battle cruiser mech, up against Dark, who continues to barrage him with units. But Clem is still maintaining 200 supply. He's got a great economy. Dark only has 60 drones and dropping. 11 lurkers are on the way, but the battlecruisers are being added in. More battlecruisers are creating an awkward situation as Dark. His anti-air consists of 4 queens. That's it. That's the whole sentence. 4 queens and an infestor. Lurkers. Now, also not great against battlecruisers, but Dark is doing his trademark multi-prong wave defense. The thing is, Clem has handled it on every side. He hasn't lost a meaningful amount of his economy. He hasn't really lost his unit composition. Dark still does not have the tools to compete. Oh my god, he waits on the lurkers! He did hold fire! There was no suspicion. And Dark, his first wave! Oh, just when it looks like Dark was out of it! Oh my god! He eviscerates the army with a single wave of lurker spines. Oh my god. I've never quite seen, especially recently, that lurker hold fire used to such devastating effect. But the man who embodies lurkers himself now has one of the more complicated Zerg armies, but still an effective one. Gets an infestor here. Microbial Shroud was used in order to reduce, you can really see that reduced damage as the Hydras, as soon as they get out of the Shroud though. More Hydras on the way, but Dark is overwhelming the Cyclones. Oh, ever since he lost that critical mass to the Lurkers. And that was pretty much the first time the Lurkers were revealed. I said Dark is all about initiative. I haven't seen the initiative weaponized quite so well. Almost ever. And Dark! Oh my god. What a game. How does he do it? An absolute masterclass in the element of surprise. Dark wins game 1. It really did look like his army was falling apart. Clem was maxed out with battle cruiser and battle mech against Might I remind you, the anti-air was 4 queens. But not able to pin it home. And that means game 1 goes to the final boss. But there's a reason we play longer series here. Clem gets another chance. He played so much of that game so well. I think maybe a mistake, but in hindsight, a mistake to jump the battle cruisers on top of the Hellions, or the first cruiser. But it very well could have turned out as a game-winning move. It was just Dark adapted so quickly. God, though, those lurkers, the perfect choice. He's using strategies like between the Nidus, the Swarm Hosts, and the Infestors, and the Lurk. These are all units that Zerg players not only do they not use often, they just, like, rarely are they used well, but rarely are they even used. Like, hold fire lurkers, burrow move roaches, the mass Nidus, not as an all-in, but just as another way to get your units around the map. It's just another dimension, essentially another strain of Zerg that Dark is playing. It seems like he's unleashed. He's got his obligatory military service in South Korea. And of course, the uncertain future of StarCraft 2 in the coming years. So maybe he's just powered up and wants to go out while showing people how they're supposed to play. I remind you that Dark is a world champion. He won the final WCS championship in 2019 at BlizzCon. So, and not that he's had, and also he lost to Beyond in 2016. So he's no stranger to high-profile matches. But it feels like he's evolved. He's just playing so well. Even when he loses, it's so dramatic. I will do my best to cast pretty much every. I don't even care. Even at ZVZ, Dark ZVZ is also revolutionary. I remind you of that match against Scarlet a week or two ago. What's the correct unit composition? Ah, yes, 70 Spore Crawlers, 12 Vipers, and 12 Lurkers. That is the correct army. Everyone else is wrong. Brenda! What? Come back here. You're not gonna get the but it's so... They heal, Brenda. They heal. I can subscribe if you think Beyond should get that nerf too. Not that Clem is any stranger to top-tier Reaper micro. Roach Warren is now on the way. I love the cinematic camera look here. Alright, so what flavor of roaches is this going to be? 4 roaches so far. It looks like a Mac Roach build, where you show the roaches, keep them busy, make them panic, and then somehow, when you look back, 60 drones. Though he is building like 8 or 10 of them, which is going into all-in territory. The third base may, well, immediately starts drones. The third base may very well be a placeholder for now. Does help, of course. Generating that larva is a big part of it. And Clem, in all his greed as a typical Terran, has a third command center, which delays essentially everything else because he spent 400 minerals building another command center. If he had been going for a battlecruiser build this time around, he may just be dead. But he does have a Banshee nearly done. He's been able to do a mild slowdown of the roaches. So the Banshee puts a timer on this attack. And Dark may very well be stuck, unable to breach the high ground, though denying the low. If he kills the Banshee with a single Ravager, I'm going to be very upset. Keeps a few roaches around to make sure he doesn't get harassed all the way back home. And in fact, those roaches will kill some of the Marines, get the Reaper, working on the Hellions, just buying as much time as possible. Almost kills another Hellion and keeps the Banshee busy. And as soon as you look back, okay, not quite 60 drones, but 50 and counting. Not that Clem is slouching on that either. He barely lost any, if any, SCVs. One. So, oh, Hyper Shees. So, yeah, it appears Clem has embraced Hypermech. Well, that last game, Battle Mech doesn't even begin to describe it because it was a Battle Cruiser Mech, but I think Hyperflight Banshees are well suited to Clem's kind of flexible multi-pronged style as one of the fastest Terran players out there. Interesting to see him going mech against Dark as well, not opting for that bio-mine style that he's been notorious for in the past. Interested to see what Dark will do when he notices those Banshees are such a threat. He's already got an infestation pit on the way. We're 6 minutes in. The infestation pit unlocks so many creative options, though. Dark embraces so readily. Of course, the infestors. You got swarm hosts. You have hive tech. So that next tier of things. All the things that Dark uses better than anyone. So not too surprised to see the infestation pit here as just a catch-all option. A bit like the Twilight Council for Protoss. The Hyper Shees are almost ready. He does have Cloak, right? Yes, Cloak and then Hyperflight. More tech labs on the way. And pathogen land, as well as the Hydralisk Den. So, a direction has been chosen. He realizes, whoa, but 4 Hyper Shees here and no transfer. Oh, he pulls the Queens off the line just in time, and that might be enough to turn the tables on the Banshees. So, immensely microable with that speed. One of the most microable units in the game. Yep, Dark dodges the last volley and keeps the hatchery alive, but still caught a little off guard. Despite being caught... Is the rally point messed up here, or is this intentional? I have no idea where that SCV is going. Honestly, more people should send out 1 or 2 worker units. Maybe not have them sit at the edge of the map and try to run off it, but I think later game just having something to scout or block. Why not? Okay. Let me out! I don't want to be in here with Dark! Unfortunately, there is no escape. No matter how much you try. I still can't get over the lurkers. That was disgusting. That was the most disgustingly beautiful play. One of my... on a long list of crazy plays from Dark. That was relatively mundane, yet it changed everything. We'll see if he can do the same here, as Clem is kind of bullying him at the moment. Infestors will be very helpful, and lo and behold, as the Infestor's the only thing that's going to be able to slow down some of these units, he throws out a fungal, catches the Banshees, chains it together, another one, down to 1 Banshee. Go tell your friends what happened here. Almost loses that one too. Down to 1 Banshee, not enough to help out. Shoots over the top of the Hellions, killing more Cyclones. And once again, Dark pulls that particularly disgusting and bulbous rabbit out of his hat and takes out the Banshees. Now the Hell Clones are troublesome to deal with, but a lot easier than unchecked Hyper Shees, both in terms of damage and their counter. The SCV looks on. Even the recent victories of Clem's army, not enough to inspire him to come home. How sad. And honestly, victory is overselling it. It wasn't a defeat, even though he lost the Banshees there. Is he going Ghost Mech? Ooh. Yes, the SCV remains. Looking into the horizon, into the space where Ideally, he will float his buildings to prevent the game from ending so quickly. Like any true salty Terran. Clem, instead of opting for the more battlecruiser style here, we see a bit more of a grounded composition. Ghosts and siege tanks. Something that can oh my god, they're so fast. Literally nothing but mutas can catch them from Zerg. Which pretty much means, well, Dark's gonna eat the hits. I think Corruptors are too slow. Of course, you can zone them out. It's not like they dodge the hit. I believe Clem has walled in some of his own tanks. A classic. Yeah, that's... Oh my god. Alright. The SCV. We see from a new angle. It remains. And while the SCV remains, disaster may very well still strike the Terrans. Oh no! Where are you going? No! No! What are you doing? No, you had safety. You had it all. And now you're just pulled off the scout after such a contemplative life? He's just gonna run onto the creep? Oh no. Press F to pay respects.
He's dead, Jim.
I don't know what to say. And that's impressive, because my job is literally to just say whatever comes to mind. But hopefully you enjoy. Like and subscribe. Well, here we are. We've made it. Wow. It's only 11 and a half minutes in. It feels like double that. Last game was only like 15, but it had a hectic feel to it, I think. It was just chaotic. The Lord of Chaos, that is Dark, dictating the pace. But this time, Clem has played a bit more of a careful match. Royal Blood, well known for these long matches by now. And we've settled into a more pragmatic composition for both sides. We have siege tanks and ghosts dotting the field, as well as some Widowmines. And then Vipers, Lurkers, and Festers. A Baneling Nest and 2 Spires on the way for Dark. So, we will see. Alright, the Hellions driving by. I believe they do have Blue Flame. Only now are upgrades finishing up for Clem. I did mention how relatively early it was. He does have Blue Flame, the greatest damage upgrade those Hellions can get. And they are using it well, roasting another 10 drones away. And kind of trading out that army supply for something a bit more meaningful. Siege tanks and ghosts will replace those Hellions. Greater Spire for Dark. Nidus into the main. Here we go again. Dark. I mean, Clem. Clem didn't notice. Even the siege tanks popping out. Look, oh, no, 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 no. Oh, wait. Was it intentional bait? He wants the lurkers to come out. Well, at least now he does, as easily snipes them away. I don't think that was intentional, but it ended up working out just fine for him. I doubt he let that Nidus finish on purpose, but the lurkers pop out into a firing squad of siege tanks and ghosts, and that particular strategy will be shut down for now. Dark switching into Lings and Banes at this relatively late hour as something to more directly deal with the ghosts. Roaches are going to lose a lot of their shelf life here, as between siege tanks and ghosts, they make easy targets. Nice. And a burrowed roach in position on that left side. Gonna try something of a counterattack. Clem spots the relatively thin defenses. I say relatively. As, of course, between multiple lurkers, infestors, and spine crawlers, well, that's gonna be tough to crack, but nothing that siege tanks and ghosts. How many scam? He's got 9 orbitals right now. Absolute madman. And by that I mean just thinking ahead, as eventually he wants to cut down on the SCV count. Mules can take over on much of the mining. SCVs mostly for mining gas and building turrets. Clem pushing forward. The ghosts able to retreat. The Thor holds the line. Lining up some snipes on the retreating units. Able to get away in time for now. Ghost still looking for more. Spore Crawler zoning out the Banshees, of which I don't know if that's the Banshee from earlier. It has 5 kills. More command centers on the way. Dark, though, transition. Honestly, there was never really a point at which Dark went into that mid-game phase. He quickly recognized that we're making it to this part of the game. Here comes the Viper, but it had nothing to really do for a while there. Looking for another opportunity. Blinding Cloud on the Planetary. Clem lost a whole bunch of tanks on the front line to a well-split army of Lingbane Ravager. More Lings on the way. This is happening. What a fight we have here. As the Roach is murdering some surprisingly optimistic SCVs. But here comes a siege tank. And Clem setting up once again. Looking towards the north side. Third base under fire. Another Nidus over to the right flank. Ooh, Widowmine takes a chunk of Zerglings on the counterattack, but the Zerglings are more than numerous enough to potentially chase down. Nope, a few more Hellions. Blue Flame, Thor will deal with this, but Clem is looking away for a few valuable moments. We'll see if Dark makes use of it. Clem seems to have adapted quite well. Whoa, the Lurkers! Well, one Lurker in position. 21 SCVs down. No, not necessarily the end of the world here, as Clem has plenty of orbitals. Honestly, at this point, with 9 orbitals, I think you can go down 50, 60 SCVs. Be perfectly fine. 50 SCVs, probably that number. So, of course, you don't want to just throw them all away. Broodlord's on the way for Dark. We haven't seen even Dark, the master of the broods. In fact, he can be credited, probably, with getting the Broodlord Broodling time nerfed. In that, the Broodlings only last about 60% as long. You can no longer stack up multiple waves of Broodlings. At least not realistically. So the Broodlord's more used for dislodging entrenched positions as opposed to an endless wave of units. And this is looking like a pretty entrenched position. Throw some fungals out, but the siege tanks have their revenge near immediately. Flyer attack level 2. Broodlords building up in number. More Thors, more ghosts being added on. 3-3 for both sides. In production, some of it has finished. +3 armor for Clem, +3 ranged attack. That is so many ghosts, but interrupted by some of the fungals here. The Thors aren't quite in position, and that means the Infestors are able to close the distance. Broodlords unleashing a wave of Broodlings. More ghosts go down alongside. Again, Clem is pushed back, though neither side banking up particularly much money here on Royal Blood. We're 18 minutes in and no closer to a conclusion. A Nidus in the main gonna be taken out by a Thor. Or not. Wake up! No! Clem, what? The Zerglings are gonna trickle out, and we'll see if this ends up being a mistake. As well, actually, he's kind of just feeding Zerglings into the Hellbats here. So, Okay, whoa. It appears Dark got a hold of one of the ghosts, though wasn't able to unleash the EMPs. But that means looking the wrong way for at least a few moments. Some more snipes come out. EMP landed on a lot of those infestors, and the rest are near out of energy. But the Spore Crawlers provide more than enough detection. 3-3-3 about to finish infantry weapons and armor. So those ghosts fully upgraded. They're still an infestor. Right underneath there. That lurker on the other side has cut down the SCV count. Both players still very near to maxed out. Another lurker finds its way in to the bottom right base, but guess what? Ghosts are more than enough. Left side being scanned, but Clem still making sure you don't want to let Dark grind you down. Everyone's watched Dark play. Clem knows better than most. You don't want to let him get to that point where he has the unbeatable army. At the same time, you don't want to run out of money. I know, these all sound like very basic StarCraft tips, but the way Dark usually wins games is less by winning an outright fight and more by his opponent trying over and over to attack and not quite succeeding. Oh, there's a turret on the way. There's still a burrowed infestor. And eventually, you're no longer able to field the right army to beat him. I think Clem's doing a great job of being patient here, trying to cut off parts of the map and keeping 200 supply. He has a nuclear missile in production. Dark has not really done much other than defend his side of the map with the occasional lurker or Nidus sent out recently. The time for outright attack is essentially ended for Dark, as attacking into 15 Ghosts, 12 Siege Tanks, and 10 Thors is quite a proposition. In fact, it looks like Clem mostly getting rid of those tanks. I doubt he wanted to get much with them, as his army is entirely focused on anti-infestor Broodlord. And, hello darkness, my old friend throws out an EMP! One goes left behind, lands an EMP on some of the others. An awkward exchange as another ghost comes in, snipes out the infestor. The first ghost will die, but Infestor Broodlord, it's gone through many changes over the years, since in Wings of Liberty it was the death ball composition. It isn't nearly as oppressive as it once was, but it is still powerful in the right hands. And Dark's grasping arms are indeed the most right ones. He just still makes this army composition work where others really struggle to bring it all together in a meaningful way. Are we going into a base trade here? We're at least working around the edges. They say never base trade a Terran, but I trust Dark. Again, we have the awkward exchange. Snipe versus Infestor versus Neuroparasite. Attack to Nidus being used. Kind of a defensive Nidus here. Just something to be able to move units around a little more quickly. Nidus not the quickest at it overall. And remember when I talked about floating buildings into the corner? That was supposed to be a joke. But, we're getting closer and closer to it being more of a reality. Then again, Cure versus Dark on this very map ended up with Cure floating all the way out into space and still almost bringing the game back in the most Cure manner possible. If only he hadn't lost every single SCV. Go watch that game after this. The nuke is launched onto the high ground here. The orbital is moving as the drones are a real and present danger to it. It's like the nuke will land, making that hatchery mildly uncomfortable. But here come the broods. The infestors, well, he is still doing. He's spawning the Broodlord. Grabs one of the Thors, and just one might be able to break this open. Beautiful foggle! Dark rolls over everything! He turns the Thors against Clem! And Clem's own units! If you can't beat them, make them join you, says Dark. And once again, though it has been a costly exchange, I can't help but see this as a win for Dark. as he rolls through all of the ghosts. He turns the Thors against one another. He has enough infestors left over to potentially do even more. Throws out a fungal to zone out. The Broodlord count has been cut down, but the Thor count has been cut out, as currently 3, I think, just popped out of the factories. But down goes a base that still have the base still has minerals. It still has Vespene gas, unlike Dark himself. He used the rest on some Baneling. Scans across the board. Sees that Dark is barely mining. Clem, I bet he was considering a GG here, but on seeing that Dark has very limited ability to rebuild, you gotta play it out. You got ghosts, you can rebuild some Thors. Banelings take out a refinery. Dark's not being particularly cost effective now with his gas. How many infestors am I? He's got 7 infestors, a handful of broods. There's not that much energy on those festers. Being very careful with the ghosts. The Broodlords, a single Thor turned around. Oh my god, he's just running past them with the roaches. The Broodlords. Thors do such a number. He's down to 1 Broodlord, which is manageable. Dark trying to break through. The roaches still doing a lot. Infestors pop up, get a fungal, but the Thors are starting to hold the line. The ghosts retreat back. And Dark didn't have enough to break through. And suddenly, not so suddenly actually, after great effort and tenacious micro, Clem holds, though really needs to be a little more careful with his ghosts, as they keep finding themselves being overrun. And it seems we're embodying the situation where the war might be fought with nukes and broodlords and the most highly advanced mechs and ghosts and all of that. The next battle may very well be fought with sticks, stones, roaches, and hellions, as both players are running out of money and just the ability to even mine more. A handful of Thors. Dark didn't quite, even though he won the battle, the war is still very much in doubt. Clem can build. Oh my god, there's still that caustic spray. The planetary. Clem's starting to run out of SCVs here. Dark has smoothly transitioned back into hatchery tech with roaches and lings. Clem's starting to run low on SCVs, but that makes his army supply all the scarier here. Not that he's at risk of maxing out. The Thors, he's switching to bio. Wow. Here come the queens. This might not be the highest level I mean, not that either player has made big mistakes at all. This is one of the closest late games. And if it was anyone but Dark, I would count him out, to be honest, at this stage. But last game, it looked like it was trending Clem's... What I'm trying to say is it's Dark. So I am not going to start calling it for Clem here, as even though he has this... Look at those upgrades. Look at the upgrades tab. It's full. It's just +3. Everything on both sides. All units are upgraded with +3. So we're at... The Hellbat finds a corner of the map. The drone count is crumbling. Oh my god, the Hellchats. A single roast. Just immolating the Zerglings. Oh. Okay, Clem. The ghosts just chased down. The Zerglings called back again into service as Dark has nothing else. The infestor count? How many? 3. Dark is trying to re-expand. What is the army? 7 Thors, 9 ghosts. There's just not the units here. Alright, well. He's building some Hydras. On paper, Clem has all... is there an infestor somewhere? How do you beat this? He snipes. Oh, but he saves himself with the beautiful fungals. The infestor will live. And a lot of damage being dealt there. But, oh, the Zerglings counterattacking. 4 lurkers on the way. But they will be spotted. The lurkers on the high ground here. I mean, there's still a few ghosts. Not enough snipes. Dark is desperate, but Clem is down to 7 SCVs. There should still be more than enough scans here. He still has 8 orbitals. There's enough scans. Those Thors can pound through. How is Clem down to 2 SCVs? How? How is this happening? Oh, a snipe? Oh, he gets the last infestor. Those lurkers. He's retreating. He's stutter stepping back. Oh, the lurkers. He's still scanning. Dark! Dark! No, you can't fight Dark's lurkers in a defensive position. You don't fight a land war in Russia. Is it in Russia? No, war either way. What is happening? No, Clem had it. He really... Come on. I don't understand. What happened? That army was so much better. Clem doesn't understand what happened. Clem's at 2 SCVs. The Dark effect. I have no idea. Lurkers show up. I don't... No. I mean, I said it's dark with lurkers, but that was mostly me doing the caster thing. Where you're like, I don't know, it could still go either way. Now we're doing a... Okay, so here's the Clem cam. It's 3 lurkers. It's 3 lurkers. That's nothing. You've got 7 Thors. But the Thors end up going the wrong way. The roaches and lings catch him. And more Zerglings. There's just... He tried to target that lurker. Like... Oh god, he's so good with the lurkers. He's so good with them. The scan... Like... The lurkers just wouldn't die. Suddenly, there's no income. Oh my god. Oh my Dark. They just keep coming, just barely enough. Wow. I don't even think that was not a mistake from, like, Clem. That was the correct fight. He had everything. It just... Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe. I hope I made your day a little bit better. Stay chill.